Zanzibar coastal community largely depends on marine resources for supporting local livelihoods. Over 30% of country's GDP depends on marine-based economy, including tourism, industry, and fishing. However, there is unprecedented coastal degradation due to diversified factors, including increased population density, with 530 people per square kilometer compared to Tanzania mainland of 45 people per square kilometer. Zanzibar is among top 3 densely populated countries in Africa. There is mushrooming of beachy resorts along the coast of the island. Furthermore, there is no treatment facilities for municipal waste, which are directly disposed to the coastal environment, synergistically overwhelming the ecosystem health and carrying capacity of the coastal and marine ecosystem around Zanzibar Islands. Let's begin by taking a closer look of the solid waste. As you see here, easily we find a lot of waste everywhere. Hi, sir, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you too?
Good. What are you doing here?
I'm collecting waste material from this area as part of my field work. And I have to collect the material and sorting them, counting them, and finally to put them in the weighing machine to identify which material is higher than others.
What's wrong with marine litters?
Yes, because these marine litters are very severely materials to the marine environment. These can stay longer in marine areas where they can disturb other marine life, and also because it is beaches which have been polluted severely, it also minimizes the number of tourism visitors, so that I'm interested in this issue so that I can inform the particular institution so that we have to be aware in our environment.
So what are the key findings of your study so far?
I found that a lot of litters is plastic, from different kind of plastics, because we have rubbers, we have a lot of them. So all these kind of plastic materials are very dangerous to the marine life. So that my interest is to collect, to know at what extent the plastic materials has been severely accumulated in the beaches.
Do you have any recommendation to the authorities?
Yes, I have to write an information to give them the information about this, because this accumulation of this marine litters, specifically plastic, after a while, very short time to come, will be our beaches will be severely polluted, and therefore, if they are severely polluted, marine life are going to be disturbed. Not only that, but the government depends on economic sector of tourism. So if the beach is polluted like this, as we can see, not tourists alone, but also ourselves here from neighborhood cannot come here and enjoy the beach because it is severely polluted.
Okay, thank you. Good work and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Muhammad. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm here for collecting some water samples and the organisms. My research is about analysis of water quality of this Zanzibar coast.
And why are you doing this research?
Yes, I'm doing this research because I know the one which I deal is TBT. As you see here, the area is highly occupied by ships and some boats where they use these anti-fouling paints.
What are the key results of your study?
Interestingly, we have a very good result because we find the elevated concentration of TBT in water and some organism. And interestingly, we have like this organism, gastropods. They affected by this TBT because you observe they undergo some changes from female to male. They develop some structures, some male structure due to the effect of this TBT.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Coral reef health is one of the only near-shore marine biotopes which has been monitored consistently over a longer time. And Chapuana Island, where I am now, is an example of the developments on a reef few kilometers west of Stone Town on the western shore. Hazards and chemicals known to affect corals both ecologically and physiologically. The majority of the hazards and chemicals are laid out with wastewater from hotels, restaurants, and domestic houses. Another important source for pollution of the ocean are the city garage as well as from boat and ship painting. The effect normally depends on the amount of the time they take to stay in the ecosystems before being washed away by currents. Ecologically, excessive amount of chemicals such as nutrient elements, which are phosphates and nitrates, metallic elements such as iron, tend to accelerate the growth of other benthic organisms, notably algae and chlamydophorians, on the reef substrate. These benthic organisms grow on the substrate that compete with corals for life resources such as space and light. This ends up into turning the reef from coral-dominated to algal or chlamydophorians-dominated reefs. Physiologically, hazards and chemicals such as agrochemicals, insecticides and antifouling chemicals, and oil hydrocarbons are recognized to cause bleaching and impair photosystem too, and thus affect the physiological mechanisms of productivity in corals. Hazards and chemicals are also known to affect reproductive physiology of corals, such as fertilization and metamorphosis. Now let's go into the water and see. This is the soft corals called chlamydophorians that develop due to presence of excessive nutrients. So up here you can see they have covered most of the benthic part of it and have overgrown the corals. So this now looks to be like a chlamydophorians dominated reef rather than hard corals dominated reef. The chlamydophorians, the soft corals that develop in the presence of excessive nutrients in the reef. So they are now out competing the corals. So they grow and occupy all of the empty spaces of the reef where coral juveniles could have settled and develop into adult corals. As we've just seen down there, that corals are severely damaged. The possible reason is the fast impact of the 2016 coral bleaching, but then we have seen the impact of bad method of resource harvesting. We have seen clearly the impact of drag netting by local fishers. We have also seen the significant cover of chlamydophorians, which indicates the sign of polluted reef. But degradation could also be caused by the impact of tourists. The impact of tourists comes mainly from the anchoring of boats by tour guiders, but also when snorkeling tourists walk on top of the reef. So this calls for the monitoring of these resources, of which its information can be used for formulation of management strategies that can help to control the problem and help reef recovery.
What is your position exactly?
Actually, the Act, the Zanzibar Environmental Management Act of 2015 established so-called Zanzibar Environmental Management Authority. In abbreviation, is ZEMA. And this is based on the section 14 of the Act. And the role of ZEMA, I have said that to ensure compliance and enforcement, but also to promote environmental impact assessment to the society, but also to carry out environmental monitoring. And then, of course, to work with the local authority to ensure, of course, to approve the area that has been allocated for waste collection, but also for waste disposal.
What is the most important, the environment and health impacts of tourism development in Zanzibar?
You may find that our tourism industry in Zanzibar is associated with limitation of environmental infrastructures that could be used to dispose, to properly dispose the all kind of the waste that is generated. And of course, most you can find solid waste not disposed in the ocean, but disposed in the bushes and other. And of course, the idea of using the soak pit and the septic system, they are reducing almost 80% BOD, biological in demand.
Yeah, okay. As a responsibility department for protecting environment, which kind of regulation policies you prefer with the aim to decreasing the environmental pollution in water and coastal ecosystem in Zanzibar?
All policies, 1992 and 2013, of course, recognize the tourism sector in Zanzibar. And of course, the policy intend to promote sustainable tourism in Zanzibar, means that we need to incorporate the environment aspect in the development of the tourism in Zanzibar. And of course, in this regard, usually, practically, we receive the feasibility study from the relevant institution, particularly the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, as well Commission for Tourism. And then, of course, based on our act, every hotel need to carry out environmental impact assessment before commencement of the project. For the big hotel, but for small hotel, they need to carry out environmental report, so that to ensure environmental and social aspects are mainstream in the development of the hotel. What we intend to achieve, at least to ensure all waste that are generated are collected daily, means that we want to move from 30% to 100%. And how we can achieve this, because we have the support from the World Bank through the improvement of the infrastructure, trucks, and the others. And I say that we disposing crudely without any consideration of social and environment. So we want to establish to have at least a sanitary landfill. That sanitary landfill tend to separate the waste, to dispose in a proper manner, to control the insect, to control the smoke and the others. Of course, to control the leachate. The second one is the issue related to the biodiversity. And when we are talking about biodiversity, means both flora and fauna. Currently, we have three marine conservation areas. You know, we have the Mnemba Conservation Area, we have Menai Conservation Area, and then we have Mimka Conservation Area. But our aim is to promote all coastal line of Zanzibar to be a marine conservation area. So to extend from the 3 conservation area to 5 conservation area, we mean that 5 will cover all coastal line of Zanzibar. This is our target. And then in terms of the forest, currently we have also 3 conservation areas. We intend to improve the sanitary to establish sanitary landfill, but mostly to promote separation of the waste, sorting of the waste. Currently, there is no means of separation, no sorting that are carried out in the old process of the waste management in Zanzibar. And of course, that sorting aims to reduce the amount of the waste aim to reuse the waste generated, but also to improve the recycling of the waste. We don't have a centralized sewage system. The only place that we have centralized sewage system is Stone Town. And of course, under that Stone Town, you may find that the wastewater generated is collected to a septic tank, and then the overflow is directly connected to sewer line system that discharge to the ocean through the sea outfall. And of course, the function of the septic tank is to reduce the biological oxygen demand in the range of the 70%. So you may find that 30% of the pollution is going to marine. That's why we advise within Stone Town not a proper place for swimming because of this scenario of the discharging untreated, we may found half treated of the sewage. So we usually carry out environmental monitoring to the hotels, to any other areas, but also we receive the complaint. You know, we have the environmental officer in each district, and then we have the link to the sheha of each shehia. In Zanzibar, we have the lowest government institution called shehia. So through sheha, we have a link to report to us to any kind of the environmental destruction or pollution that are occurring to their society. And once we receive that complaint through this mechanism, then we act accordingly.
Why there are so many trash along the coastal area of Zanzibar?
Currently, we have established the local authority, and the government intend to enforce the local authority, to at least to give more function, which include the function of the managing the waste. But you may find that their capacity. One among the issue that has been outlined in environmental policy is lack or limitation of the capacity of the local authority that we have to tackle with all waste generated in their respective locality. So they have a deficit on the capacity. That capacity in terms of know-how, knowledge, that capacity in terms of the financial constraint, that capacity in terms of the infrastructure. I can tell you, currently the West DB municipality, they have only 2 trucks of collecting the waste.
So what is your vision on the environment at 2030? What will be a position of Zanzibar?
Yeah, I will tell you that in the 2030, in terms of the environmental management, you will find that no trash on the ground. There will be very limited trash on the ground. We will have the proper sanitary landfill, not only for the urban area, but also for other town in Pemba. Okay. In that time, we have the wastewater treatment. This is our vision. We have the sanitary landfill, sorting of the waste from the domestic level. There will be the proper mechanism that we already instituted in the house at the household level. So this is our expectation.
Coastal and marine ecosystems are very fragile against human pressures, rapid coastal development activities, and climate change, among others. It is certainly that the ecosystem and allied resources get deteriorated over time. It is high time to act for rescuing these vital resources with support of coastal livelihoods and national economy. Several options and strategies such as monitoring, enhancing mariculture, diversification of economic activities, waste treatment facilities, and enforcing environmental legislation should be considered for balancing between exploitation of resources and ecosystem health conservation.